What's it like biking in London, Ontario? Well, it changes depending on where you live, where you need to go on a routine basis, and which routes you're able to make work for your journeys. Today, we're doing a Costco run with Katie Lardner using her Longtail electric cargo bike. This is a ride-along video, and is part 1 of 2 because otherwise this video would get too long. So this video is about getting across the city and riding along next to Katie and asking her questions. And the next video will be leaving Costco with a full load and riding all the way back home with over $300 of groceries in tow. Let's start. So how often do you bike?
So we got this bike about a year ago. And now we're just trying to find every excuse we can to ride it because we love it so much. It's, I would say probably a few times a week we make sure we get out on the bike.
Okay.
We actually have 2 e-bikes now because it was so difficult to keep up with the e-bike and not be dying on the other bike, on the non-e-bike.
So how many is enough?
Well, we're good with 2. All right. Oh, here we go. We got a bike lane now.
Now, when we say bike lane, we mean painted bike lane, which is not protected, and that comes up in just a few minutes when I ask her a few other questions more related to vulnerable road users, like her kids. Some people say these bike lanes are better than nothing, and others say that nothing is better than adding these bike lanes.
I try and do some grocery runs now on the bike, because I find, can you hear me?
What are your thoughts on, like just the painted lane here, because it's kind of lower traffic, I guess? Or?
Yeah, this painted lane, it's not bad right now because ride out has been closed, lower traffic. Yeah. With the bridge out, which has been lovely. But it's ultimately, I wouldn't let my kid drive on this bike lane. So I feel pretty safe on it, but when I have my kids with me and they're on their own bikes, it doesn't feel as safe, that's for sure. They just get a little wobbly on their bikes and I never know if they're gonna jut out. So not having the separated lane just is not feeling as great as a parent.
Yeah, makes sense. Since filming this bridge has been completed, which is very nice, but that doesn't help people at this point in time who needed to get by this bridge as a pedestrian or a wheelchair user. So this is about to get interesting. Oh, that is,
yeah,
that is less stellar.
Not good.
That is.
Do you want help?
I'm just wondering if I can make it through.
Okay, if I look and make sure. You,
Pretty tight, babe.
I think
you're gonna be okay.
As long as we like.
And I'm here if you want to try. I'm here if you want to.
Yeah.
If you fall, I'll catch you.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna be okay. There you go. There you go.
Perfect.
Hey!
Yay! No problem.
Accessibility! Not happening. Do you know what the plan is for the lanes here?
So I see a lot of paintings, and I think it's a multi-use sidewalk. I'm pretty certain.
So bikes will be on the sidewalk on this side and
I think so.
on the road on this side.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, that's what it is. You can see there.
I think. But then
you're right.
What happens when we get to the light and we want to get on the TVP? Like, that's tricky. So today I can go here because it's a red light.
There are such things as bi-directional bike lanes, and they are pretty handy for utilizing space efficiently. In this case, because of the construction, this is not that. This is just a sidewalk, which is fine. Technically, this is illegal, but I mean, it's construction, so the only way of making this happen is doing this. But once we hit the bridge here and the sidewalk gets larger, it becomes a multi-use pathway. The funny thing is, I don't recall any sort of signage saying that, so technically people might think it's a sidewalk, and then suddenly it turns into a TVP. So it turns into a multi-use pathway here with a yellow line in the middle, indicating the bi-directionalness of this.
How do you kids like this trail?
This is great.
Once you're here.
Yeah, although I have a daredevil 7-year-old who loves to fly down this hill, and I'm saying, brake, brake, brake. But it's great. I mean, this is how we should be biking in London. And we're so lucky to have this. So lucky to have this. But there can be some improvements.
I just don't want to hit oncoming traffic.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Going through here is so wonderful. Although I am holding the gimbal backwards on my bike, trying to get this shot, which looks beautiful, absolutely stunning, but difficult to say the least.
So how many dollars worth of groceries do you think you're gonna end up picking up?
Oh, let's play how many dollars worth of groceries. I'm not sure I can leave Costco ever under $300 now.
Okay, I was gonna say 200 minimum, but you said the 3, yep.
We'll see. I don't have any big ticket stuff, so it'll probably be 250. That's my guess.
These underpasses are amazing as a cyclist, by the way.
And we're gonna swing up around to the right.
At this point, we are looping around and gaining a little bit of elevation so that we can cross the King Street Bridge, which is right next to Ivy Park and really close to the London Bicycle Cafe.
Okay, I'm going down the Children's Museum. Wait.
Oh, see, I've never, so we're gonna go right after the bridge?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never gone to Costco from Wortley, so
oh, yeah?
Very cool.
Yeah, this is the first way I ever went, and when I first explored coming to Costco on a bike, I thought, what's the safest way I can get there? Yeah. Or maybe the most ideal and beautiful way, honestly. And so this one was it. And it's so nice to go along the path for most of it. And honestly, it was not that much more time than it took me in the car. So I thought, you know, this is kind of nice when I can get out, move my body, and, you know, get my heart rate up while I'm doing something that I need to do, which is like groceries. So that's why I started biking. Now I don't bike every day to Costco, obviously. I maybe go a few times a year when it's nice and not 40 degrees out. But today's a beautiful day, so it's worth it. And I need to move my body today, so it's a double duty.
We've found that if we don't go out and move our body, and we think this is something to do with like the increase in insomnia with people, we cannot sleep if we don't. We can be mentally fatigued, but we realized, oh, there's both. There's physical and mental. It's
really important for sleep. It's really important for longevity, your health, just everything. Moving your body. Motion is the lotion to keep the joints going. Yeah.
It's a joint effort.
It is.
Joint, get it? Joint effort, your joints. Okay, that was a bad joke, but I had to include it. But no, really, it is a health thing. As you'll have noticed, both of us are just slightly out of breath, which isn't meaning that like we're getting the best, most insane workouts of our lives, but it does mean that we're raising our heart rate and getting the exercise that everybody needs. Like, it's a global health crisis. People aren't getting enough activity.
Wow, that's a lot of people out. That's cool.
The first time I went to Costco, I shared it on Instagram, and I had some people message me and say, aren't you worried about like the safety of this? And I said, you know what? I have a lot of courage actually on the bike. So I feel like if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be me. But you just have to really be aware of what's happening around you on a bike, and especially with a big load. Once we get all the groceries in here, it's gonna be heavy. So I actually had a bad experience the first time I came home with groceries. I got stuck on Wonderland Road because I didn't realize the bike lane was up on the sidewalk, and I just kept going on the road. And I was stuck over the bridge and I couldn't get up. And there was luckily not a lot of cars that time of day. So it wasn't a huge safety issue, but I was fully loaded. I had to lift my bike up over the curb. I could barely do it. And luckily I did, but it was a scary moment of, shoot, like I took the wrong way. Like, what am I gonna do now? So it's all about like making sure you feel safe on the roads, just doing things smartly. And I think ultimately, like, you can do groceries on your bike. It's totally accessible.
If the infrastructure's there.
If the infrastructure's there. And if you don't feel safe, maybe there's a route that you can take that you do feel safer. If it's a little bit longer, like I'll take an extra 10 minutes to go on a bike lane like this where I feel really safe than going on let's say a road with just a painted line with a lot of traffic. So, especially if I have my kids on the back, I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I'll carry them on the back of the GSD. And there's some times where, you know, I will not get on that road with the painted line because it's not protected enough.
What's the thing that makes it, well, some days you will and some days you won't?
It's the kids on the back.
Got it, okay.
It's protecting my kids, really. And, you know, maybe I should not be doing it with myself. But maybe that's just a mother thing. It really depends on what road it is too, honestly. Like, I would never ride on Oxford or Wonderland, except if I made a mistake. But those roads they don't have painted lines even, so yeah.
Yeah, they have nothing.
They have nothing. So, I mean, it's not great. I mean, I've had to go along Oxford on the sidewalk, and it was really not ideal. So, yeah. Oh, this is a bumpy part.
Yo, I need a better way to hold this.
Your arms must be killing after.
Yeah, it's a good workout.
Uh-huh.
Primarily for one, though.
Yeah. We took the kids to a soccer game on Thursday night, and that was enough. It was a little bit cooler that day, but not by much. So, woo, that was a white goose. But yeah, we chose a soccer league this year based on how we could get there on our bicycles. And we specifically went with a different league because it was all on the pathway and a 15-minute bike ride. So that made a lot of sense for us. And we just love it. We've biked there twice a week now since the beginning of May. We load all the stuff up into our cargo panniers, chairs, soccer gear, water, and it's perfect. We don't have to park at the car. There's limited parking at the soccer field, so it's ideal, really. And I have one kid that'll just sit in the back of the bike and watch the game, and it's perfect. I love it.
And what does everyone else say to that?
Oh, I actually find it hilarious when we pull up with the bikes because people just kind of stare at us like, what is that?
Have you had any like inquiries?
Yeah, we do. We get some inquiries, and we get lots of inquiries about prices, and people like to guess how much a bike like this costs. And we like to tell them it's our second vehicle, which is why we bought this car. Sorry, this bike. We bought this bike as a second vehicle. So there was some instances where one of our kids needed to be in one place and the other kid needed to be in another place, and we have one car, and we have chosen not to buy another car. Financially, it doesn't work for us. So we looked at a bike, and my husband started seeing these cargo bikes on YouTube, and he just started researching it, and finally he convinced me to go and take a test drive of one of them at the bike cafe here in London. And at first I thought, oh my goodness, this bike is huge. It's so heavy. Like, what am I gonna do? You know, but once you like ride it a couple times, it's amazing. It's so amazing. It rides beautifully. It's smooth. And you know, once I get the two kids loaded on the back, it's a lot more weight, but I have been riding it enough that I feel strong on it now, and it's not an issue. We're gonna go left here.
Ah, I see where we're going.
Yeah.
I've been up this way once.
So this is where we have to get off the pathway, unfortunately, and take Wonderland Road, which is not my favorite, and it's gonna be loud. But there is a bike lane here, supposedly. Oh, this bike lane is in rough shape.
Oh, I guess my chain fell off.
It did?
Literally.
Oh no!
Well, just give me one moment here. That's comical.
That might have been one of the most ironic things. We were just talking about how bad that path was. As soon as we started on this path that is just in total disrepair, my chain fell off, which just shows how bumpy this was.
Wonderland has this lovely bike lane right on the curb, and I'm riding on the sidewalk right now because it's just so much smoother. And no one's walking along here.
The only positive is that it is separated, so that is good.
And we're here at rush hour, so we're gonna scoot past this huge lineup of cars.
Now, it would be such a nicer experience if there were trees and a smooth pathway along here. There's just so many great things that you can do to make this experience so much more enjoyable than it is right now, which is just, it's desolate. It's loud, it's desolate, it's not great.
Mind you, I would never drive to Costco in rush hour, but this is clearly gonna be faster today than if I drove.
If you are ever trying to convince people to get out of their cars, just like make them understand that traffic is reduced with fewer people on the road. I know that seems to make logical sense, but a lot of people don't seem to comprehend that. So up here is where the bike path goes onto the road, and it's just a painted line. I'm actually gonna take the sidewalk because this is a very dangerous intersection in London.
So if you were to say something to the counselor,
I would not feel safe in this bike lane that's painted in the middle of the intersection, because a lot of accidents happen at this intersection and I could be hit. So I'd love a protected lane. I'd love some of this boulevard could be turned into protected bike lane. That would be amazing. And we got a green, so we're gonna check to make sure no one's actually turning right here. Luckily, this isn't a very busy pedestrian sidewalk, so I'm gonna ride here. But I think we can be ticketed, actually, for riding on the sidewalk.
Yes, we could. But again, would you feel comfortable in a bike lane that's just painted next to speeding cars? No.
Oh, there's a deer down there. I would never have seen that deer if I wasn't on my bike.
Sorry for missing that with the camera. I saw it with my eyeballs though, so can confirm there was a deer there. And especially when you're biking with kids, it is such a wonderful experience to point out little creatures and animals and have them experience wildlife firsthand.
So when people say they don't use, bikers don't use bike lanes,
I know.
this is a perfect example.
This is why we don't use bike lanes, because there's 4 lanes of traffic here and it's rush hour. And these cars are probably going, usually they're going at least 50 or 60 kilometers an hour. And now the bike lane ends. So it's now protected up here, which is great. But that little strip over there just doesn't feel safe. And if you get kids and people with limited mobility on those painted lines, they just don't feel safe enough to, and I wouldn't feel safe putting my kids on that road. So this is lovely. Again, the bike lane dips down onto the road again. And I've got a pedestrian, so I'm gonna stay on the road this time because I like to be considerate of the pedestrians and not scare them on the sidewalk with the giant bike.
Not to mention, because of the way the curbs are, they're protected, but you are not able to easily get on and off, especially once you're loaded up with groceries, which is not the case right now, but you also don't know if pedestrians are gonna be at the next intersection.
And here we have to be really careful that car isn't going to turn right and not see us.
In this case, a separated, protected bike lane would be the best thing to have here because this is a high-speed road. Drivers and people on bicycles do not mix.
It gets a bit sketchy here because the bike lane actually is on the sidewalk up here.
But you can get on only by the sidewalk.
Correct. So you have to know, like I did research before I came here, before I planned this route to see what on earth I'm supposed to do. And so it's green for go. But now I have to somehow make sure I'm not cutting off a pedestrian and that there's no bus, like right now. Sorry. So yeah, this is a tricky part of the route. But we're almost there.
So yeah, this is an example of a protected bike lane for sure, but it's really not implemented very well. It's a horrible user experience.
Then we got some fellow bikers ahead of us on the lane, which is nice.
Now, it's both nice.
I'm gonna turn right here.
And a sign of the times.
It's okay.
Because we are shoved to the side of the road. The cars get all the space, and yet we are jammed on this tiny little sidewalk with no shelter from the sun.
It's hotter out than I thought here in the blaring sun.
Yeah.
Wearing black. Yeah. Okay, so again, we're just gonna make sure everybody's aware of what's happening here. Like this guy turning right.
Talk about dangerous. You're not supposed to do that.
And I'm gonna use my hand signals.
She had the right of way. That shouldn't have happened. This is definitely an example of being extraordinarily observant and defensive when you are biking. With another rider, that could have been not great.
Smells great.
Oh yeah. Somebody's putting gas in their car, right on the curb. Oh, it's just busy. This guy turning left out of Costco is loving me.
So as you probably noticed, it went from a wonderful experience to a car-centric hellscape and just trying to survive.
We made it.
What I find interesting is around this Costco, the population density is actually pretty high, but it is so car-centric.
Were there bike racks originally when you got here?
So when I came a year ago, I looked around and I couldn't find a bike rack. So I tied this beast to a tree around the corner here. And when I came out, the sprinkler had gone off and my bike was soaked. Yeah. So I put in a comment card into the suggestion box in the store and said, hey, I got a new cargo bike and I really enjoy riding it to the store, but you don't have a bike rack. I've also seen other bikes coming to the store. Maybe you might like to consider getting one. And this year, there's a bike rack.
Yay, too close to the car though.
Much too close to the car and the pedestrian access, but beggars can't be choosers. Locking situation is an alarm lock and the front wheel. I figure it's probably pretty safe here. There's a lot of people around, people at the picnic table here, employees smoking right beside us. So I figure this is actually a pretty safe place to lock up. I feel pretty good about it. So we'll lock it up today and we'll be good to go inside. Sometimes I take my seat off and bring my battery inside, and maybe I'll do that today because you never know. I actually came here with my brother and we had 2 e-bikes, and I came out to unlock the bikes and I couldn't find the key to the alarm. And I went back into the store and retraced my steps and I still couldn't find it. And as we came back, I was about to call my husband for the spare key. There was someone sitting at the picnic table and they said, oh, there's a key on top of the garbage can there. I was like, it's the key. Yes, you saved the day. So that was a lesson. I always put the keys in my fanny pack in the same spot. So now I know they're here and I won't lose them this time. Okay, you want to lock yours up?
Thank you so much for watching. If you've gotten this far, you will obviously want to watch the next part of this, which you'll see on your screen right now. So click that and I'll see you in the next one. And if you really enjoyed this, head on over to the description below to see how you can support me in making more of these video productions. Have a good one. Bye.